A few days ago, I did a video for my The Dust is Global series. Now, this woman, this young lady, actually had an African red pillar that she was in a relationship with, and she gave us the lowdown about what it was like or how it was like to be with a man like this. Now, this is a follow up. I want to let y'all know it is a very vulnerable situation to tell your story and know that I'm going to put it on video and people will be commenting. So I did follow up and ask her how she was doing. She says she's going to, and I gave her the video. She says she's going to try to watch it. She says reading the comments make me want to cry. Most of the people were seemingly very concerned or supportive. She says, I already felt ashamed just seeing it there because it sinks in when I see it in front of me what happened. I'm so glad that everyone is reaching out and sending condolences. In part two, I will type a bit slower so that I will not cause any confusion and miscommunication of the story. Okay, so here is her part two. She says, I'm thankful for everyone on TikTok and YouTube that offered their perspective, advice, and support. It helps me to feel less alone, knowing what I went through is wrong and I can get help for overcoming this. I hope people can understand my memory of these events are confusing since I was repressing them, but I will do the best that I can to recollect and say what I can remember. I think I was already experiencing symptoms of PTSD before when I was with him, but it has gotten to the point where I have difficulty living my life. She says, I will give context to how he groomed me. I was young, and due to coming from an unstable home, my mindset was really immature. I was suffering from depression, and I gave up on life when I met him. I followed whatever he said because I thought being with him would make me happy. I did not know my personality outside of people, so whatever he said, I believed or did whatever he said. I used to comfort him if he was sad or raged, be his peace, as these guys say, but he destroyed mine. If I did something bad, he would scream. He was obsessed with punishing me and would insult me until I had anxiety attacks or cry on the phone. Then he would mock me and say I was playing the victim. It got worse when his brother came into his life. Before, he would often ask me to repeat my trauma. He denied my reality. He told me my parents deserved to abuse me. My aunt deserved to abuse me. I told him about a previous SA, and he told me that I was not R worded. R word is when you say stop, and he tries to force his peen into her vajayjay. I felt invalidated because even though that did not happen, it still was SA. One time he got mad and put that trauma back in my face. It cut deeply because I felt shame. He said sorry and begged for forgiveness. I had flashbacks of my traumatic past while with him or nightmares of his family in my dream or being R-worded and or stalked. Endless sleepless nights or insomnia. Sometimes I used to freeze up around him or zone out, and he would keep screaming for hours. He often said that I was slow mentally and I should stop doing that. One time I had a nightmare of an event that occurred when I was 17, and he accused me of when a woman still talks about her ex, she still likes him. I told him no and explained this person nearly destroyed me mentally. Then he claimed he was sorry for accusing me. He also defended his this ex, told me I was effed up, and often blamed me for my reactions towards my trauma responses. If I told him what I used to do as a teenager, pushing people away, guarded, acting cold, not opening up, he would scream at me what a B word and a horrible person I was when he has done people in the past worse than I have. In my case, I was tired of hurting people and I worked on myself and I made amends with those people. Him, on the other hand, he has never apologized to anyone he hurts and justifies his horrible treatment of women. I used to be distant with him since we have trouble opening up, and he would go on rants about how ungrateful I am, or that's why no one likes me, or takes my reactions personally and gives me the silent treatment. I used to relive my trauma with him around, or I would have meltdowns and he would be silent. For almost a year, this happened, along with telling me how cultureless I was. He hated the food I cooked for myself and said the cuisine my country is whitewashed. Every day was a nightmare with him before I had a psychotic break. After my psychotic break and we broke up for the first time, something had changed. I lost myself, my memory was scattered, and I thought about dying a lot. I thought if he was not with me and all of what he said, then I deserved to die. I was not functioning, and I slowly blocked him out of my memory as I healed for 7 months. I was stuck with him, so I was mentally taking this because I did not know what to do and wanted the old him back that made me feel happy. He never came back. He told me no one will love me because I had issues and often said he was never depressed, or I'm not sure what S is. He was never depressed, or he was better than everyone else. He was a boastful, prideful person that often tried to show how special and knowledgeable he was. Most of his convos were about him, his point of view, or his experience, and that included dismissing my reality, over talking, laughing at me, saying hurtful jokes, being racist against my ethnicity, or if I told him my perspective, he would often tell me, "No, you think like this." He often told me, "I know you better than you know yourself," which is a lie. He was studying me, but still doesn't know me. If he did, he would have known I was not okay with his wicked brother being around him and cut him off. But to him, having male validation was his life support. During that time, I wanted to gain weight and already told me how, I'm sorry, during that time, I wanted to gain weight and already told me how gross I was since I was underweight. I was never like a baddie or what he likes. He kept telling me he suspected I had anorexia, and I had to find out for myself from a professional in June 2020. But I was annoyed that he kept such information from me when he could have just said something earlier and I could have gotten help earlier. He often forced me to eat to gain weight and got mad if I was sick. He used to manipulate me to eat, and he disrupted my recovery from ED since we were together. He often stressed me out with family issues. I will get into that in the next part. His own mess ups by allowing gangsters and occultist weirdos into his life and ignored me when I had a problem with it, and rage if these men did not give him the attention or cut him off. I realized he never cared about my recovery at all. He wanted me to look like a corn star. He compared me to a corn star with messed up teeth and said he wanted me to look like her. He often was fantasizing about how I would look with extra weight and told me if I sent a picture I look ugly or would point out I look sleepy. From the time he met me and I sent him pictures of myself full body at 19, he already said my legs looked too skinny and that I look weird. The backhanded compliments only got worse, so eventually I stopped sending him pictures of myself to avoid his input. These comments he made about my body made me feel insecure and worse since I was diagnosed. He told me I was disgusting and gross, and no one would love me with an ED. Sometimes he would listen when I expressed a fear of weight gain or my trauma, but he would throw it in my face. He used to pretend he listened to me, opening up, only to show me how much better he was because he never suffered from mental illness. Eventually, I stopped telling him about what was going on in my mind because I was tired of him acting fake supportive or getting frustrated and threatening to break up. He believed me being mentally ill was in actuality I was faking it or playing the victim. He either did the silent treatment or dismissed my feelings as an everyday occurrence, and I was mentally beat down before we first broke up. Sometimes we would take a break and I would get better, but I would feel depressed again when he was in my life. I look back and realize he was making me unhappy and was breaking me down to prove how lucky he was in life. So obviously, this young lady's commentary is very long, but basically, what I am seeing is she has an unstable home life, and that made her ripe for an older man to pluck her up and manipulate her. So this is to y'all. Just understand what you set your children up when you raise them in a chaotic home. They could be ripe for the plucking by someone who is more manipulative but speaks a good game and can seemingly offer a better way of being, but then do this because their brain is all messed up. But jump in the comments, talk to this young lady, and offer her some words of. Actually, before I end this, I do want to give you guys the last page of her screenshots of what she was telling me. And you guys can read this for yourself. But one part that I want to pull out, he told me one time that he wanted a girlfriend to cook and clean for him because he was tired of waiting for us to meet, and he would make me a baby mama. This was the most disrespectful thing any man has ever uttered to me, and mentally I was already removing myself from him. So basically, sometimes it takes, something to make things click for people that it's just like, I really, really need to move on. And this is probably her breaking point. Um, and I do want to encourage us to keep on dropping those seeds of wisdom to other women, even when you don't think that it is productive, because some ladies, some girls are actually listening to us. This woman she is healing. She's talking to me in the inbox, and I can tell that she's healing. So, like I said, if you have any words of encouragement on how to move on from this, she is trying. She's getting over the mental trauma. She's getting over an eating disorder. She's getting over a bad breakup, somebody who manipulated her. So jump in the comments and let us know what you think. Have a good one. Like, comment.